you'll feel it catch into the weeds and all kinds of, just pop it free. There should be minimal snags out there from what I can tell. Fish on. Fish on. That's awesome. Right on the drop off. Hey guys, Cornell with YouTube Fishing Vids. I am finally back. I've been out sick with the flu. How many of you guys have gotten the flu this season? I'm out here with my buddy Chris. Chris, where the heck are we?
Somewhere in Virginia.
We'll call it Lake X. We are in a very, very, very nice private farm pond right here. And look how pale that fish is, guys, and look at the water behind it. It is super stained, not super cold, surprisingly warm for this time of year. It's mid-February, the water temperature at 47 degrees, and look what it took to get them. Stained cold water, Fat Albert, little grub, just a grub on an 1/8 ounce. And that was honestly about my second cast? Yep. Second or third cast of that. We've been throwing rattle traps, you know, just basic lipless crankbaits and such, and it took a tiny little grub to get that fish in that cold waters. All right, guys, that's number 2 bass on the grub. A little bit bigger than that first one. I got to be honest with you, sad story. I actually broke out the Ned rig and caught one on the first cast about an hour ago. Look at the red lips on that thing. Isn't that cool? All right, pale, cold bass. Have been out here a couple hours. That's 3 fish. I wish I had that third one to show you on film, but there we go. The grub, guys. That's the Fat Albert curly tail grub by Zoom. Just a no-brainer bait. Cold water, stained water. One of the toughest conditions you can think to fish in, and that grub just got another one. Let's keep at it. Okay, folks. Chris and I just got off the Pelican. We just put the Pelican up on the top of the vehicle. We jumped over the road to this little pond. Did you even know this thing was here until earlier?
No idea. Look
at the size of this green sunfish, guys. This is like, I don't know what to say. That is just an absolute giant. I have never caught a green sunfish this big. It's all pale, it's cold. Ned rig. I'm just throwing the Ned rig, and my man Chris is just throwing that curly tail grubber out here. It's a much cleaner pond. That lake is stained, cold, smirky. It's a mess. So it was tough fishing. Hooked up with 2 that I got to show you, 1 that I had on a Ned rig. Got 1 more bite, but it's been a tough day of fishing, but I got out. It's been a while, guys. The flu sucks. Let me tell you, I'm back though.
More.
There are. Oh, was that a fish?
I'd like to throw the Pelican in here.
Is this a fish? It totally feels like a little fish, dude. It's swimming at me. Oh yeah, it's a fish. What the heck, guys? This is back-to-back casts, and I got the video camera rolling. What do I have? It's digging like a, is it another one of those? No, it's a bass. Is it really? Oh, we should have been fishing here all day, Chris. Guys, this is so cool. The sun is dipped. It is really late, and that's literally my second cast with a Ned rig in this little retention pond on the opposite side of the big farm pond. Again, look how pale these bass are. So giant green sunfish, another little bass. The night's turning out pretty good here, ending on a nice note. And by the way, Chris did catch a fish the second we came down here. He's throwing his curly tail grub. He landed one on his first cast. He got it up on the bank. We tossed it back. I hooked up with that giant green sunfish, ran up and got my camera gear to put it back on, not even thinking we were going to have any action. So if you guys didn't notice, there was that one scene where I caught my last fish on the farm pond. Chris wasn't in the boat. I actually had dropped him off for about a half an hour. He went to go watch his nephew do motocross. He's got a supercross course up here on this farm. It's about 600 acres. Chris's nephew's buddy's parents own the 600 acres, and this place is all hooked up. There's a few ponds on it, the great big pond, which is about 30 acres, and this little retention pond, which is obviously just kind of making our night. So we're really fortunate to be out here last minute. All right, let's take a little walk. Let's get down this bank here towards the culvert and see if we can actually find some more fish. This place is all hooked up. I jumped about 20 ruffed grouse out of all this stuff that I'm walking through right now. So when we pulled up in the car, you know, we took one step towards this shoreline, and ruffed grouse just jumped up out of this place. Man, this place is incredible. Waterfowl everywhere. I'm sure it's loaded with deer, turkey, the whole gig. So here I am close to this culvert that drops straight down in the main lake. But boy, we have some super clear water here. And I didn't even mention it. If you didn't notice, I'm in a short sleeve shirt, mid-February, mid-Atlantic, Virginia. It's 68, 70 degrees today. Absolutely ridiculous. The water temps on the main lake were about 45 degrees when we started out, and within a few hours of that sun breaking out on a 68 degree day, water temperature jumped up 3 degrees. So it went from about 45 to about 48 degrees today. Okay, one more quick move. I'm gonna go just beyond Chris on this one side, a couple more casts, and then we gotta hit the road. All right, so just a quick rundown, folks. There's just the classic Ned rig. You've seen that before. That's just a green pumpkin classic TRD Z-Man Ned rig, and that's actually the red shroom head. That's a I believe that's the 1/10 ounce is what, no, I'm sorry, that's the 1/6 ounce is what that is. So that's what I was using right here, and that's what I caught that giant green sunfish and a bass out here in this little retention pond. Caught one, like I said, I didn't have the video camera rolling when I caught that one, which was the biggest fish of the day on the Ned rig on the main farm pond, but that Fat Albert Zoom curly tail grub was just a chartreuse on a 1/8 ounce ball head is all that was. So, and I was throwing that on straight braid actually. It was so murky and so stained, I didn't really worry too much about having a leader line. So straight braid, that was just straight 12-pound test braid on that curly tail grub, which did some damage on that cold water. If you guys are fishing on some little local ponds and you're in the 40-degree water temperature and it happens to be stained, virtually all the other fishing I've been doing and all my other videos, that water's all been pretty clear. This was a completely different scenario. Cold, muddy, I mean murky, muddy water. Chartreuse curly tail grub is the only thing that I can get any of those bass to bite. And there's tons of big fish in there supposedly, but no rattle traps, red rattle traps, big swim baits, black and blue jigs. I threw it all. The only thing I can get them to bite was that little green pumpkin, red-headed, shroom-headed Ned rig, and curly tail grub and chartreuse. So keep that in mind if you're having tough times on those cold, murky ponds or lakes near you. Try that little grub and a chartreuse and a little jig head and swim it through those suspended fish, which is where they were, suspended. They weren't on the bottom. So that's what worked out for me today. Let's throw a few more casts and see if I can get one just before we got to go. All right, folks, this is my last cast. We got to get out of here. It's getting dark. We're going to try and beat some traffic going home. It's been absolutely awesome checking out a new farm pond, checking out a new property. A little bit of action, little fish, but doesn't matter, guys. I'm fishing in the middle of the dead of winter at 70 degrees and catching fish in 40-some degree water, so you can't beat that. So, folks, as always, I appreciate you joining me. As always, I appreciate you subscribing. Until we meet again, over and out.